Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is someone who has built a powerful voice in the world of media and storytelling. Joining me today is Adam Torres, a top 2% podcaster, international speaker, and number one best-selling author of 1 billion podcast, The Future of All Media. He's also the co-founder of Mission Matters, a media and branding platform dedicated to amplifying the voices of entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators around the world. With over 25 million views and a podcast heard in 180 countries, Adam has interviewed world leaders, executives, celebrities, and change makers, helping share stories that shape conversations globally. Adam, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. And I want to learn some questions too. We're good.
All
For
right.
people, you said people in their 20s trying to figure it out. We're all trying to figure it out. I don't care what age.
That's true, actually. All right. Well, the only difference is that, you guys, right, you have more experience than we, right?
You
So
trying to say the old people?
I didn't explicitly say that, actually. All right. So, yeah, I was reading your introduction and I am wowed, right?
Mhm.
It's a pleasure to be talking to you, honestly. And yeah, it made me remember a guest I had on my podcast, right? I asked this person, like, what's the number one skill, like a digital skill, what someone should
Mm.
learn in this modern era that would, make us a whole lot of money? And they
Yeah.
said communication. I
That's
was
a good answer.
he said communication. So I feel like I'm talking to like a communication expert, right?
Mm.
So yeah, that's you, Adam.
I I definitely say I have a lot of questions. I like asking questions. I've never learned anything from talking, right? It's the question, it's the listening part. That's the key, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so let's talk about your journey, right? So before
Hmm.
becoming a top podcaster and media entrepreneur, you spent many years in the financial service industry. So
Hmm.
what led you to, pivot into media and storytelling?
Yeah. It was at first, there was no plan. So, first off, so for the people listening that are in their 20s that want those answers, there wasn't a plan. So, you can put your pen down and I'll tell you what happened, but it wasn't by plan. What I did was, I had a firm and I was managing money, and my mentor says, Adam, I just started the business and I left another company. And he says, Adam, you got to write a book. And I'm like, I don't want to write a book. Like, why am I going to write a book? Like, okay, I didn't know what I know now. So I had a little bit, I was young, a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. I didn't understand. So I said, broke people write books. Why do I want to write a book? I'm not going to make any money trying to sell a book. And he's like, no, Adam, you have to do it because people need to know your story and you want to share this. I'm like, that's silly. Why would I do that? Like, that's dumb. But I listen to my mentors. So I guess if there is a takeaway there, even when I don't want to do something, if somebody that's accomplished something that I want to accomplish, or do, is giving me advice, then I try to listen when I can. And in this case, I could. So I said, okay, I'll do the book. I put out the book and things changed for me. Like, I didn't expect it, but all of a sudden I'm doing speaking tours and all these other opportunities are coming to me that I didn't have before. And why? It was because people, they resonated and or connected with my story. And so that was the beginning of understanding that, like, wait a minute, sharing your story and trying to help other people is a good thing. I didn't really know about that before. I was in the financial world. Like, I'm looking at computer screens, I'm looking at bar charts, I'm studying charts, I'm looking at financial statements of companies. It's a very left brain, very analytical kind of lifestyle. So to move to the right brain and start thinking and like involving the heart and like in the story side of life, like that was different for me. So that was the start, I would say, to all of the path of media and everything really was that. It was that first book.
All right. Wow. So your book actually, led you to media and podcasting, right?
Hmm.
But then again,
Even
like you said.
Even just writing the book, like having to think of those stories, like even the process of just going through and writing the book makes you think about your life differently, I believe.
All right, wow. So, initially you said you didn't even know you were going to go down this route, right?
Mm-mm.
You didn't know.
Nope, nope.
Okay. So that means that means I think my own takeaway from here is one should be willing to try out anything, right? As long as it's
Hmm.
bad, not negative things, obviously, but
Yeah.
like you should
Well,
be
and it
willing
was
to
from a
try out
mentor.
anything.
It was also recommended from a
Okay.
mentor that I respected and trusted, and that also had done some things that I wanted to do. So it wasn't like just anybody. It's not like somebody just giving me random advice. It was somebody that had a specific reason that I couldn't really argue against it. It was like, well, okay.
All right. Wow. Okay. I wish I have a mentor like that. It's life
Hmm.
would be much more easier, right? So yeah, talking about, uh your journey, still on your journey, right? So many people
Hmm.
they dream of creating platforms that, reaches the world the way yours does. So what
Hmm.
were the biggest challenges in, building Mission Matters?
I think setting the correct expectations for growth and understanding. So, what'll happen is when somebody starts a podcast, and I write about this, by the way, in my book. And by the way, for all your listeners, they can have my book for free. It's called 1 Billion Podcasts, and the website is the number 1billionpodcast.com. And in the book, I talk about like setting the proper expectations. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. What happens is, like, let's say somebody starts a podcast, they're very excited in the beginning, and they start that podcast and they go on there and they're like, they're sharing and they're having fun, but maybe the growth isn't what they think it's supposed to be. And so maybe, year one, they're like excited. Year two, they're like, I don't have enough downloads. Year three, they're like, but a lot of people, they quit. Now, the reason they normally quit isn't because their show isn't good or because they aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's because they're not educated on the actual form of podcasting and they don't know that it takes years to build that connection with your audience. It's not like another form of medium. Like in other mediums, like let's just say you have, I don't know, a post on TikTok that goes viral and now a bunch of people follow you. That's not really going to happen with a podcast because for podcasts, you have to build time and trust with your audience. They have to get used to your voice. Like, do I like this person? Do I like what they're talking about? Do I like the type of guest? That takes time. Somebody might have to listen to your podcast once, twice, three times, four times before they hit the subscribe button. They may not subscribe after hearing one episode, but it's okay because here's the thing. Well, somebody that listens to your podcast is spending more of their life, giving you more of their time, more of their life energy than other platforms. So, for example, let's say somebody gives you a like on Instagram. Well, how long did that take them? A second? Not even. Did they listen to the whole video? Probably not. If you had a video, if you had a reel in there, did they give you 1 full minute of time of their time? Probably not. Like they may have given you, 10 seconds, maybe some gave you a minute. If somebody listens to your podcast, a normal length of a podcast episode might be at least, 20, 30 minutes, could be an hour. So somebody gave you 30 minutes of your time versus less than a second. Which one's more valuable? If you think about it that way, then if you're putting out a podcast episode and let's say 10 people listen to it, that's amazing. If you have a 30-minute episode and 10 people listen to it, that's 300 minutes. 300 minutes of time that was given to you and your show. That 300 minutes could have been spent doing something else. Somebody could have been watching Netflix or watching a movie that cost $1 billion to make. Instead of doing that, they gave you that 300 minutes, those people, those listeners. Like, so if you have that expectation, now just think about if you have more listeners. Let's say you have 50 people listening to an episode. That is equivalent to you standing in front of 50 people and giving a keynote. Like you're doing a speech in front of them. Or what if you have 100? That's a lot. But people don't normally understand that. So they think that podcasting, they're like, oh, well, I got 1,000 likes or 100 likes on Instagram on this post or whatever, and I got like 50 listens or downloads on my podcast episode. So then they think immediately like, the podcast isn't working. But that's not true. Those 50 people or however many people are listening, what's happening is you're building a closer bond and a closer relationship with them. And it's a real relationship. And what happens is over time, over the course of weeks and months and years, you become like their friend. They may spend more time. Think about it this way: if you talk to your brother or cousin or sister on the phone, let's say you talk to them once a week for 30 minutes. Let's say that you listen to an hour-long episode from your favorite podcaster once a week. That means you spent more time with that podcaster than you do with your own brother or sister. Like
Wow.
so if you think about it that way, it's a very intimate relationship. It's different. And so what happens is over time, not in a week, not in a month, but over the course of years, now I'm going on 10 years doing this. So going on 10 years in this business, I mean, I obviously started when I was, when I was 15 years old. No. Maybe not. Everybody else got the joke. If you saw the video, it's fine. So like I was saying, I have a decade relationship going with some of my listeners almost. And so now when you think about that, what happens is they talk to other people. And over time, that builds, like that compounds, because you can't fake that. You can't fake a catalog. You can't fake putting in work for years and putting out good content for years. You can't fake it. And it's not dependent on the algorithm or some marketer saying that you did a good piece of content, because you can't fake it. You can't hide behind a mic and have hundreds of conversations and not show who you are as a person. So that's the key there. And the people that gravitate to what you're saying, like that can be a lifelong bond. I think I'll have listeners. I'm only 10 years in this business, but I bet you in, 20, 30 years, I'll have, 30-year listeners. Like that's crazy to even think about, but it's possible, And so that's where I think people make the mistake, is not understanding what podcasting actually is, and also the power of it, and the expectations. And that's a lot about what I go through in the book. And again, I give the book away for free.
I would love to, get your book actually,
Mhm.
since I'm also into podcasting.
The
So I
number
really
1 billion podcast.com. You can go download it too.
okay, wow. So yeah, I'm definitely going to download it actually. And yes, while you were speaking, right, I think you opened my mind to a whole new perspective of podcasting. I never thought of it that way, right? Because
And
sometimes,
that's why I wrote the book, by the way. The book is
wow.
written for two different people. One, it's written for current podcasters, because I'm so tired of podcasters quitting. The numbers are small, and it's because they don't understand the wealth and the potential in the space. And sometimes people will be like, "Oh, the show's it's already saturated. There's so many podcasts." But what they don't understand is that the podcasting industry hasn't even begun yet. There's only 4 million podcasts in the entire world. There's over 150 million YouTube channels. So think about it, 4 million versus 150 million. It hasn't even started. And in the book, I do go through like why this is, and it's a pretty analytical. So I'm not just giving my opinion. I back it up with the data and everything else. But I love that you said that. So I didn't want to cut you off, but I love that you said that, because the second audience is the people that haven't ever started a podcast. So those are my two. And so you're one of my audiences, because I want you to do hundreds and hundreds of episodes and stay in this business for many, many years.
Right. Wow, I would love to actually. Before now, right? I always check my listeners. I don't really have a whole lot of listeners, right? And it saddens me because, and yes, like you said, I was, how do I put it? I was comparing it to TikTok, right? Because I know,
Ah, there you go. There you go. I didn't, this book is written off of 10 years of knowledge, and we've launched, our company's launched over 200 shows. So I've worked with hundreds of podcast hosts. So I know what they're thinking. I know you were doing that. That's why I said TikTok, by the way. If your
I
show
was.
wasn't for someone in their 20s, like if you were, let's say, older, I would have said Instagram. And if you were even older, I would have said LinkedIn. I would have said your LinkedIn engagement. So I said TikTok for a reason, because I knew you were doing that. Shame on you. No, I'm just playing on that part. I'm just playing on that part. Go ahead.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so now I know. And the funny thing is, I would prefer podcasting to TikTok because podcasting creates real relationship with what you
Mm-hmm.
said, right? Now I
Yep.
know I have people who love to hear my voice, right? People
Mm-hmm.
who actually do love me. So for TikTok,
Yes.
it's very easy to just hit the like button and then scroll or something. But
Mm.
podcasting, it takes effort to want to listen to one person over again, even when there are
Yes.
different guests. So it takes a whole lot of effort. And I'm just seeing it from this perspective. I've never looked at it
Mm.
that way before. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're both number
I'll
one.
give you another angle too on that. And I'm not against TikTok. I'm not against YouTube. I'm not against anything, just so you know. But I'll give you the other secret to this that it just, and I talk about this in the book too. But here is that TikTok, who's in control of TikTok? The algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Who's in control of the podcast?
Hmm.
The listener.
Ah,
So
true.
the viewer on TikTok in control. They don't get to open when they open up that app, the algorithm tells them who to listen to and what to
Hmm.
watch. On Apple or Spotify or any of the platforms, if somebody subscribed to your podcast, then when they open up their app or if they have their notifications turned on, guess what? The new episode is there and or they get a notification. Oh, a new episode's out. Not only
Hmm.
that, but people that listen to podcasts are consistent. So if you put out an episode every Tuesday or whatever you put it out, they're going to know and they're going to listen to it on that Tuesday. And you can see the data on the back end if you're consistent on putting on episodes that you can see exactly when they're going to listen. So
Hmm.
podcast listeners are in control of their own content. There's no algorithm that's going to hide your content. You could put out something that's politically some political people don't agree with on one side or another side. You do that on YouTube, you know what you get? You get a red flag. You get a community violation. You do that on TikTok, you get blacklisted or banned, and you just all of a sudden you don't get any reach and you don't know why. And nobody's going to tell you why, but all of a sudden you don't have any engagement. And who do you call? What do you do? Nothing. You have to start a new account.
Hmm.
When you have your podcast, though, who's in control? You are the host. You have a catalog. So you're not, I don't think that the other platforms are a waste of time, but I just think that you have to battle with an algorithm. You have other parties involved and invested. For podcasts, that's the most direct conversation that you can have with your audience and connection. So you're in control. Even email delivery is horrible nowadays. If Google for whatever reason wants to put your email into spam, then guess what?
Hmm.
All of a sudden they marked you as spam. Who knows, right?
Wow.
Even though somebody subscribed to your newsletter, all of a sudden it's going to the spam. Who cares, right? But with podcasts, it's direct. They got the notification on their phone. Oh, Adam released a new episode. Boom, got the notification on my phone. Direct conversation, direct relationship, no middleman.
Exactly. No middleman. Emphasis on that, actually.
I mean it. But that's important for content creators, especially when you think about the time and the heart that you put into your craft. So I'm not saying that you don't put in a lot of work on your TikTok content or other content. I'm just saying that there's a middleman. And that's the algorithm, and the algorithm likes your content or doesn't like your content. I had somebody the other day on Instagram, and I like Instagram, by the way. Ask Adam Torres on Instagram. We put out a lot of Instagram content. I enjoy Instagram. I consume all the platforms, by the way. But I go on there one day, the other day, and I'm like looking at something, and I'm like, and somebody came up that I haven't seen on my feed in forever. I'm talking like years. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where's this person at? I went to college with him. So I go on there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I go to and I look and I'm like, wait a minute. I look at this profile and I'm like, wait, I've been following him this whole time. I'm like, maybe he hasn't been posting. And then I look and I'm like, wait, he's been posting. And then I look at the post that he gave me. And so why did I see that post? I saw that post because he had a baby, which is a great thing, a happy, a celebration. It was wonderful. But what it means, though, is that he finally did something popular enough to where Instagram felt it was okay to put him in my feed. I would have
Wow.
loved to see his content and all the pictures and things he was doing in his life. Instead, I'm stuck looking at crappy ads. Like, why am I not seeing his content? Somebody that I care about, somebody that I love to see his content. Why? Because he's not that popular on Instagram. He's not a marketer. He's a regular family guy. He doesn't care about any of that. He posts family updates, which I care about him and his family. But guess what? I don't see those. I see this because finally he had a baby, another one, and it was popular enough to where Instagram gave me permission to see his content.
Mm.
But I'll tell you what, whenever I open it up, I see all these dang ads trying to sell me something. I'm like,
Exactly.
so, can I get less of that? Can I get more of the people that I actually opted? So the point is that it's not, the platforms aren't here to serve you. They're here to make money from your eyeballs, which is okay, right? It's free to get on Instagram is free, but nothing's free. It's paying, what you're paying with is your attention. On podcasts, for though, on the other side of things is if he had a podcast and if I subscribed to that, then guess what would happen? I'd be getting a notification.
Exactly. Wow. I feel like I've learned a lot, right? I've learned so much already, and I still want to learn more actually. So, and I'll do that by, reading your book. So, yeah, I want you to talk to, young creators and
Mm.
entrepreneurs, right? So, many young people, they want to build their own platforms or let's say personal brands. So, if they want to do that, where should they actually start?
I think that they need to start thinking about why they want to do it. Like why? Like what is the reason for building their personal brand? And after they answer that question, and that's going to change and evolve over time, by the way. But after that changes, or excuse me, after they decide their why on that, so it could be if they're younger, it could be, hey, I want to get a job. I want to go to college. I want to go to college, and I want when people Google me, I want them to actually see, my profile. It could be they're already in a job or starting a business, and they want to reach a larger audience. Lots of different reasons. But after they decide whatever their reason is, which will change over time, then the next thing they want to do is say like set like what can they realistically do? Like, no offense, but like not everybody's good in front of camera. If you're not that good in front of camera, if you know you're not good in front of camera, then probably don't start with video. And I'll pick on myself. I wasn't somebody that was very easy. I did before I started doing video interviews, I did over 1,500 interviews. I was so terrible. If you turn on a camera, what you're doing right now, I could not do. You turn on a camera and I would be like, I forget my name. So I was terrible. I had to like work my way up to being able to turn on a camera, to be able to do an interview for the audience, to be able to do all these other things. So I wasn't born or built for this. I learned it over many years of practicing and being really bad. So for somebody that's thinking about building their personal brand, maybe they like to write. Maybe they don't like being in front of camera. Or maybe they don't like to write. Maybe they like being in front of camera. Or maybe they don't like either and they want to do only audio and they just like to talk. And maybe if they don't like to talk, then maybe they like to create through other forms. Maybe, they want to use AI to do some animation or they want to do something else. But the point is, you have to do something to get your ideas out. There's got to be some way to get your ideas out because if you're not doing this, what's happening is, especially with AI, you're just falling behind. Like you can't fake that. Like in the past, you used to be able to maybe say you go to and we do a lot of branding and other things like that. And we have an agency and in the past you used to be able to say, okay, well, you do a photo shoot, you get some nice photos, you put up a nice clean website, you put, make sure the font, the design, the brand is good. All of that is still important. But that used to be where you kind of stop for some people. And they'd be like, okay, at least if you Google this person, then they're going to come up and you at least know who they are. So you know they're not a ghost, right? You do that. And maybe you have on LinkedIn, maybe you have your LinkedIn profile's kind of clean. And so that was it. So it's like, okay, there goes my resume, there goes my online presence. But now with AI, if that's all that comes up and people say like, hey, who is this person? And you don't have anything to back it up or show, the lack of information is going to be horrible. It's going to be like if AI doesn't know who you are, you don't matter. And if you don't put out content for AI to learn who you are so that it can give you a good search result, then it's going to be and let's just say that you're out there looking for a job or you're looking for business funding or you're going, something that has any competition. And let's say that the other person has a relevant profile that AI has scraped and understands who you are. Who wins? Who would you spend your money with?
Mhm. Okay, so thank you so much for this actually. This has been amazing. And yeah, oh, I have a lot of questions, right? I'm just looking at the time.
Read the book. Get into the book. The
Yeah.
number 1billionpodcast.com. You can download it from that website. And when you go through the book, there's a whole lot more there, especially for the podcasters. Like my aim and my goal is I want podcasters to continue doing it. And if you do like the book, share it with somebody else. It's free. It's completely free. Like share it with other podcasters. That's what I've been telling the podcasters out there. If it helped you, if the knowledge or the information helped you, which I hope it does, share it with more podcasters that you know.
I will definitely be sharing because I have, young podcaster friends that I think would need it too. So yeah, thank you, Adam. And this brings us to like the final segment of this podcast. It's called the rapid fire segment, right?
Okay.
So yeah, starting now, podcasting or writing.
Podcasting.
Okay. What's one word that describes entrepreneurship?
Curious.
Oh, okay. And yeah, the biggest mistake new podcasters make.
False expectations.
Hmm. Okay.
Comparing it to TikTok. No.
Oh, that's true. Everyone does that actually. So yeah, consistency or creativity.
Consistency.
Okay, and yeah, a book that changed your mindset.
The E-Myth was an interesting book. I like the E-Myth.
Okay, and yes, finally, one habit that helped your success.
Systems, creating systems so that if I don't even want a podcast, I wake up and guess what? If I don't always feel like it too, and I don't have a choice though, because I wake up and I already have like you woke up and you had this interview on your calendar, and you're like, I got to talk to this guy Adam. I do the same thing. So consistency, it's already on the calendar, and you got to wake up, you got to do the interview.
Okay, all right. So I thought I was the only one who feels that way sometimes.
Nope, I feel that way too.
So it's amazing to know, someone like you can also feel that way. So I'm not lost, basically. So yeah, thank you so much, Adam. This has been amazing. And your book,
Mm.
I will definitely be checking it out. I'll put it on the show notes so that
Mhm.
listeners can also, check out the book too. And yes, to my listeners, thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, make
Mm.
sure to share to someone you think might need this and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episode. Thank you, Adam. Do have a wonderful day. And yes, this was amazing, actually.
Thank you. I appreciate all the work you're doing. And everybody, if you haven't done it yet, you better hit that subscribe button. Conversations with Sakani, that's where it's at.